Finance. Okay, the purpose of the workshop was to look at the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, versus our NDP, our National Development Plan, and then also the government's strategy to contain the effects of COVID-19. Okay, one of the things we discussed there was the need to have a relevant education system in the country. And they mentioned that, the team at Finance mentioned that they had a meeting with the University of the Gambia to discuss with them how they could, ensure that their curriculum is that rich to incorporate, stuff that are applicable to people's life, so that when students graduate, they don't have to be, job seekers, but then they will be what? Job recruiters. Okay, so that when you're learning, you need to learn a skill. Okay, every job, every field you study, there is the skill aspect of it. The only problem that most of us have is we learn to pass exams. We don't understand what we've learned. Okay, so I try to make my submissions as simple as possible and as relevant and applicable as possible to real life. Any topic that we treat is going to be like that. Okay, so that's why I don't believe in book definitions also. But whatever we say, we must try to apply it to our real life. Okay, so we're looking at target costing. We've all learned conveniently that we understand the topic and we can apply it. You can apply it in any business. Okay, you want to go to poultry, for example. You want to go to poultry business. Okay, you want to do a business plan. Okay, you want to do a business plan. So first, before you go into poultry, do your research. Go and visit a couple of poultry farms in the country. Ask them about their processes. You don't only ask about the selling price, because the selling price forms part of the overall production cycle. Okay, so selling price comes last, but before it comes, there are a lot of things that comes. So you go to meet, let's say 10, 15, poultry farmers, ask them about their processes. Okay, I'm giving you just an example with poultry farm, but you can do it with any business. Okay, any business. So after visiting the poultry farms, ask them about their processes, how they get their feed, how to call it, what sort of revenue they generate, if they're going to do broilers, how much they're going to sell them in the market, if they're going to do layers, how much they sell the crate of egg, the poo of the chicks for fertilizer, how much do they sell it, and so on. So ask about all that. Determine your price. Okay. So after determining your own price, you could set your own price, because on average, people sell, broiler chicks for $250 in this country. But when you do a proper research, it could be that you could sell it for $240 or $235. And even that $5 or that $10 difference, you're still going to have a huge demand compared to your competitors. Okay, so do your research, do your costing, okay? Because by getting this definition, the cost of the feed, the cost of the, the medication, and so on and so forth, you can do a costing technique. The rent, if the building does not belong to you, how much rent you have to pay. So you can do your costing technique, ABC, or your absorption costing. You arrive at how much it's going to cost you to maintain, let's say one bag for a period of 6 weeks. Okay? Usually their gestation period is about 6 weeks. Okay, so after calculating that, okay, then come up with your own selling price. Let's say you can say $240. Then do a target cost. Then you do your production. You go into the business based on that target costing. So what you could decide is, you say, for example, the feeds. The feeds, most of the feed come from Senegal. You could decide to make your own feed. Okay, it's the most important ingredient of the feed is corn. Okay, if you, like, for example, if you're ready for, you can farm your own corn, and then, you know, you need to put some, you know, stuff. There are some ingredients that you need to put in the feed, you know, and so on and so forth. So based on that knowledge, you could do your own. You could have your how to call it, your cost, your feed, your medication, and so on, cheaper than what prevails in the market, and also you can be selling at a lower selling price. And what's going to happen? People are going to come to you. They will think that, oh, that guy is daft. Why is he selling lower than the market price? But you have done your homework properly. But how many people do that? And these are little applications of these things that we learn. Okay, is this clear? Can you be able to do? Can you be able to implement a target costing for yourself and for any client that you can make money? You know, people think accounting is all about bookkeeping, financial accounting. You do your cash book, you do your bank recs, and you know all that. No, it's far more. Management accounting, in fact, has got more money. We could do all this. When we did. No, I've not done that with you yet. But when you look at a break-even analysis, you could help people to develop their business plan. You know, putting break-even analysis as part of your, you know, management tool to advise whoever the businessman is. And there are people who specialize in business planning making in this country. You know, they do one business plan. You pay them 10,000. You pay them 5,000 at minimum. Some people even charge 15,000. And usually you don't do much. You take one template. So if you do that, even in a month, you get, you know, a couple of business plans. That's not good money. You're using your accounting knowledge. We used to have a colleague here, you know, who does business plan for people. He's getting good money. Because in most organizations like banks and so on, microfinance institutions, before they give you money, you need to produce a business plan. Even this YEP form. Okay, so please, let's understand these topics and then know how to apply them in practice. Is that clear? I hope you are all clear as to the way to go about the target costing, class?
It is clear.
Yes, Mr. Fofana.
To go by, you know, target costing is more rational than, you know, going without it.
Yes, definitely. Yes, Umar?
You know, it puts you, you know,
Mr.
I don't know.
Fofana, I think target.
Yes, Umar,
Yes,
go ahead.
Mr. Fofana.
Yes,
I think also target costing can help someone to know whether when he engage in this business, he will be able to make a profit or not.
Exactly.
Based on the example that you have first given,
yes.
Like when the cost of the production is like $30,
yes.
But in the market they are selling that product as $25.
Yes.
You know, that one will try to help you that to know whether you should go for this business or you should go to an alternative business.
Exactly.
Based on your explanation, is very important for someone to do target costing before he engage in that business.
Exactly. Any business for that matter. Any business. And I'm sure there are people in you here who are either doing small business or interested in businesses. Yeah. I know of people who used to do poultry in some of my previous classes. You know, and just for your information, for some of you who are like young, between the age of 18 to 35, we have a product. You know, I work for Social Development Fund. We provide funding for small businesses. We have a product called YEP, you know, mini loans. You know, so if you are interested and maybe you have previously dealt with this national youths, whatever, and YEP and so on, you've done some training and so on and so forth, you into business or you want to go into business and so on and so forth. So it's available.
Mr. Fofana.
Yes.
One of my younger brothers is working there, Abdullah Badi.
Okay.
He's the communication officer at YEP.
At YEP, okay, that's right. Yeah, we don't deal with we deal with their, you know, actually their management staff who usually come into meetings and so on. Yeah, that's right. But just for you to know, so in case you are interested, how to call it, and you know someone who is interested, because I've said it in one of my classes, and At least I had a couple of students who benefited from it. One of them is doing good poultry business and so on. And the interest rate is just 10%. So, yeah. Okay, so let's proceed, please. Let's proceed. So value engineering. Value engineering, like I said, is nothing else but to improve the value of our goods and products or services by using an examination of functions. Okay, so we all know what is value. Value is the quality. Value is the reason why customers buy our products. Okay, they want to have a benefit from it. Okay, so value engineering will be the process whereby we'll be assessing our processes, we'll be assessing our costing structure, and then seeing where we can, reduce here and there without having any effect on the quality of the business. Sorry, on the quality of the product. Okay, so that's value engineering for you. Let's look at a question called Fantata. We look at it. There is some value engineering in it. Can we look at it, please? So I'm going to open a new spreadsheet file that we're going to use to answer our question.
Mr. Fauna.
Please screenshot this if you don't have it. It's already on the notes that I've shared on the WhatsApp. Yeah.
Mr. Fauna.
Yes, sir.
Is it possible for us to know how to draw a graph on this Excel sheet?
How to draw a graph?
Let's say you have to plot a graph, something like that.
Yes, we'll come to that when we deal with break-even analysis. Yeah.
Okay, you're right. Yes.
Okay. So no worry. If you want a full-blown training, you have to pay for it. Huh? It's not free, huh?
Mr. Fofana, it's not yet shared in the WhatsApp group.
Oh, it's not yet shared? Oh,
no.
Is it? Okay, let me see. Actually, I switched my phone.
It's 16 hours.
Because I don't want distraction. Maybe it was trying to go at the time. Okay, let's see. Let's see how it's gonna go. Yes, it should be shared now because some people. Oh, what? You know what I did? Instead of sharing it on the group, I've shared it with one person. Okay, I'll do that right away. That's interesting. I don't know why I did that. Right, so just forward that.
Sorry, Mr. Fofana.
Yes.
Can you later please explain what value engineering means? I don't understand it deeply based on your explanation.
Yes, I'll explain. Okay, so I've just forwarded the how to call it the notes.
Yeah, it is now shared.
Good. Actually, I sent it before, but it did not upload, so it's there twice. Fine, good. So value engineering, you're asking for value. Okay, what value engineering means is to look at our production processes. Okay, for example, we know before we produce this particular product, let's say soap, we need some raw materials. Okay, the raw material may be this crude oil, it may be some chemical, it may be this, it may be that. Okay, so we know before we produce this soap, we must use machinery to produce this soap. We need to pay laborers and so on and so forth. So what value engineering means is to look at those processes and those materials, okay, and trying to see how we can substitute, for example, materials, which will not bring the quality of the product down, but then we can get it for a lower price. For example, if let's say you are into the business of producing tables, tables for students, okay, your own table, the top you make on your tables is aluminum, for example, okay, and you've done your costing based on your ABC or your absorption costing, and you've done your target costing. You came to realize that using the aluminum tabletop is going to cost me $500 to produce one table. Okay, but after doing your research, you came to realize that, in fact, this tabletop, I can make the tabletop plywood, okay, which may be cheaper, and the customers like it. And if I make it plywood, the cost for the plywood will be lower than the cost for the aluminum. So you can, after doing your costing, it's through your target costing that you'll be able to know that, look, I have a cost that is more than what I am targeting to produce each unit. You understand my point? So you'll be able to know, okay, now I am going to do value engineering. I'm going to look at the value of this table. I assess it in terms of material. I will say, okay, instead of iron tabletop or instead of aluminum tabletop, I'm going to use plywood. Plywood is cheaper, and then the quality will not be compromised. That's one way of value engineering. The other way could be, at the moment, let's say the people who are producing your tables, these are high-grade staff. For example, they are staff that are, let's say, foremen. Foremen usually are highly experienced than the other something. You came to realize after doing your assessment, after going to the engineering department, after going to the production, and you came to realize that, in fact, assistant foremen can even do this work properly. Assistant foremen are paid less than the foremen. So you know that when you employ the services of the assistant foreman, okay, they will do the same stuff and at cheaper labor cost. So what are you doing? You're doing value engineering to reduce your labor cost, and it won't have any effect on the value of on the quality of your product. Is that clear now?
Yes, it's well understood.
Okay, good. So that's what, in a sense, value engineering means. Okay. So let's go and do this question. So I'm going to open a new Google Sheet. Okay, you all know how to do a new Google Sheet. So I'm going to go. So you go to your Google Drive. After going to your email, okay, so you go on top where you have the 9 dots. Click on the 9 dots, and then select your Google Drive. After selecting your Google Drive, then you do new Google Sheet, and then a new file will pop up. Then I'll call it, let me just project this file instead. So I'll stop this one for now. So make sure you have this question handy, because I'm going to project the Excel. I'm going to project the spreadsheet instead. Okay, I'm going to project this spreadsheet instead. So I'll stop this one now.
Hello, Mr. Fofana.
Hello. Yes, go ahead.
I'm really sorry for interrupting.
Go ahead.
Yes, I'm talking about the recorded version. Usually, your projection on the Google Sheet is not clear on the recorded version. So I don't know if you can improve that before we continue with this exercise. Because if you are watching the recorded version, sometimes you want to follow, but you cannot see the figures very well on the Google Sheet.
Okay, you usually watch them on a mobile device, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, on a mobile device, it will be small. Because for your information, I also watch the recorded video.
Usually, I want to go through the recorded version for more understanding, but on the
yeah, this is what I'm saying. If you want to use a mobile, it's usually very small. But if you use a laptop, you won't have that problem. But still, I'll zoom them. I'll that's why I like to zoom them. So I'll zoom it to 150%. Okay. So actually, to be honest, it is very important. It is very important for each and every one of you to get a laptop instead of your mobile. And for your information, there are some laptops that are cheaper than some mobiles. For example, I know someone who brings second-hand laptops from UK, and he sells them for 5,000, 6,000, not more than that. And they're good laptops. Okay? So in case you want a laptop that may cost you not more than 6,000, you can contact me. I'm not selling any laptop, but I just want to help. I have a brother, actually a friend, who has that business. He brings in laptops from the UK, second-hand laptops, good laptops, and sells them sometimes, depending on the quality, for 5,000, for 6,000, sometimes for 4,500 even. And that it can serve you as a student. So you need to have a laptop because, to be honest, you can't do your work on a mobile device. Mobile is usually very small. And it has got some limitations. You've seen it. The Google Sheet app on your mobile device and on the laptop is completely different. Okay? Because the problem is if you try to zoom it too much also, it's going to take a lot of time. You have to be going up and down, left, right, center, a lot. You know, so that's the trouble. Try to get a laptop, please. Okay, so you can see my spreadsheet now, isn't it? Can you see it now?
Yes,
okay,
it is
good.
visible.
So I'm going to name this after creating it. So I'm going to click on this title. Then I'll call it, I'll put your semester, September 2020 semester. September 2020 semester, just say MA3. And this will be target costing. Okay. Yes. And Madam, the one who was talking about the how to call it, not seeing clearly, you have another way of avoiding that. If you're going to watch it along with the how to call it, with the Excel version, because what I usually do is after the class I will export this into Excel and share it on the forum. So when you are watching it, make sure you open that Excel and you do it along. Do you understand what I'm talking about? You know the one that you have on the video, you cannot control that, but the one that you have downloaded as an Excel version, you can control it, and you can see it in anyhow you want to see it. Is that clear, madam? Is that clear? Okay.
Yes, it is.
Okay, good. So you can do it alongside, right? Okay, so let's go. This question is called Fantata Limited. Okay, I'm going to read quickly. We go through because after this we have an exam type question that we need to complete today. Okay, we need to complete today. Right. So, Fantata Limited makes and sells a product A. The product should be A, not H. Okay, product A. That was a typo. It should be product A, which is manufactured through 2 consecutive processes, assembly and finishing. Raw material is input at the commencement of the assembly process. An activity-based costing approach is used in the absorption of product-specific conversion costs. The following estimated information is available for the period: product A, production units, production and sales units, selling price, direct material cost per unit, ABC conversion cost per unit, product-specific fixed cost, company fixed cost. Fantata Limited uses a minimum contribution to sales ratio target of 25% when assessing the viability of a product. In addition, management wishes to achieve an overall net profit margin of 12% on sales in this period in order to meet return on capital target. Required: A, calculate the target cost, B, calculate the cost gap, and C, suggest specific areas of investigation. Okay, cost gap, for your information, is the difference between our unit cost using our current costing technique, that's using our ABC or absorption costing, and our unit cost when we have calculated our target cost. So cost gap is the difference between our unit cost and our target cost. Okay, gap means space. Okay, so That's the second aspect. Then suggest specific areas of investigation. Okay. So we're going to have a go at this. This is a small question. First is asking about our target cost. So when we want to calculate our target cost, what's the first thing that we look for? So I'll say, first, I will rename this sheet. To rename it, you double click on the sheet. Then I'll call it EG6. I'll call it EG6. EG6 Antata Limited. Okay. That's the name of the sheet, and I'm going to color it. Okay. Don't worry if you miss anything. You can always refer to the video, and then you can, slow the video down and take step by step and practice while we go. Okay. So we need to go a bit fast because of time. Okay. So first, we type the name of the organization. That's really important. NPATA Ltd. Full stop. Okay. So that's the name of our organization. And what's the statement that we're supposed to produce? We're supposed to produce a target cost statement. We're going to produce our unit target cost statement. Yeah. So we require to produce a unit target cost statement. Okay. So this is our A. So I'm going to put A here. So I'll expand this a bit so that it can fit on here. Okay, so this is the column we're going to use for our numbers. So I want to pre-format it, okay? So that if I put numbers there, the numbers will be 2 decimal place. Sorry, the numbers will be 0 decimal place with 1,000 separators. So how do I do that? I highlight on the whole thing, and then I go to Format, Number, then I'll select Financial, which is it has 1,000 separator with 2 decimal places with a bracket for negative numbers. Okay, this is usually the format we use to produce our financial statements as professional accountants. Okay, so take note of that, the financial number formatting. But this time around, we don't want it 2 decimal places. So after doing it, because this one, if you type anything, it's going to take it to 2 decimal places. We don't want it to go to 2 decimal places. So as such, we have to take it to 0 decimal place. So we highlight on it, and then this is the stuff that you need to click to decrease the decimal place. And if you want to increase it, you click on this. So each time you click it, it will decrease it 1 decimal place. So we need to click it twice. 1, 2. Okay, right. So what's the first thing that comes on this statement? I'm going to make the text also, instead of 10, I'm going to increase, sorry, the font size, I'm going to increase it to 12 instead of 10. So I highlight on the whole worksheet. You click on here to highlight the whole worksheet, and then you choose your, how to call it, font size. So I'm going to choose 12. Okay? So that will make it big. So what's the first thing that will come here? We want to do our target cost. So we want to find our unit target cost. So when we're doing target cost, what's the first thing that comes?
I think you said that when you are calculating target cost, what you first need to determine is the prevailing market cost.
Exactly, the prevailing market selling price.
Selling price as that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's the selling price that we have determined here?
The selling price given is £75.
75 pounds. Okay. So we have our selling price. Our selling price is 75. Okay. We have not reduced it. So just go once, go that. You have to type the numbers first. Okay. So what is next? What is the next thing that comes on a target cost statement after selling price?
Number of units.
Is it the profit margin?
Huh?
The profit
The
margin.
profit margin, exactly. So it's the profit margin that comes next. And we've been told in the question that the profit margin should be what? 12%. So margin is always on sales. So our profit margin in brackets 12%. So how do we calculate 12% here? What formula do we put here to calculate our 12% on the selling price? Omar, can you lead us?
Equals.
Equals.
Bracket open.
Bracket opens.
You click cell C6.
C6,
Times 12%.
I say multiplied by, and the multiplication sign is the key on top of 8, the one that looks like a star, okay? So the star is the multiplication sign in both Google Sheet and Excel, okay? And what do we do again?
You multiply with 12%.
So what do I put there, 12?
No, 0.12.
I just put 0.12, which is 12. Then what do? I enter. Okay, so once I enter, it gives me 9. So this is fine, Omar. You can do it with a bracket, but you can do it without a bracket also, because it's only 2 numbers you are multiplying, so you don't have to worry about any board mass here. So you can do it without bracket, it's going to work. So with or without bracket will be fine. Okay, good, very good. Thanks for that. Then what is the next number we need to look for to arrive at our target cost? It is the target cost itself. So now we want to find our target cost. You see how easy it is to get a target cost? So our target cost will be what? So what formula do we put here to arrive at our target cost? Yima? Mamat? What formula do we put here to arrive at our target cost?
Mr. Von, equal to C6.
Equals C6. Yes, C6.
Minus. C7.
C7, excellent. So you can either type C6 minus C7, or when you say equals, click on C6 and you type minus, and then you click on C7. You have to note the minus key is the same key that has got a dash.
Okay.
If you press the key together with a shift, it gives you a dash. If you press the key without a shift, it gives you minus. So take note of it. And minus is different from dash. Okay, so you enter. So once you enter, we have our target cost of £66. Okay, so we are done with A. So B, what do we have to do in B? B, we have to calculate our cost gap. Okay, cost gap. What is cost gap? Like I explained to you, what is cost gap? What is
gap means, I think gap means space.
Gap means space. Very good. And the space will always be between one thing and another, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. We are in space. Why are we in space? Human beings were in space because we are between the earth and the sky. So we are in space. We are between two things, isn't it?
Yes.
Good. So if we have to calculate our cost gap, we say we have to have two things. And what are those two things?
Difference between ABC and the...
Yeah, very good. We have to calculate our unit cost according to our ABC method, okay? And we deduct it from our target cost. So the first thing is the unit cost according to our ABC method, and the second thing is the target cost we have calculated. So the cost gap will be the difference between those two. Very good. So cost gap.
Sorry, Mr. Fofana.
Yes.
is it always they have to specify which costing method you have to make in order to have your current cost?
Yes, it will be given. It will be given because they must give you some numbers that will allow you to calculate your initial cost. Okay.
You know, in this question,
we have been told that the costs that have been mentioned here have been calculated using ABC. So if a question is going to be mad, it can ask you to calculate an ABC cost, your unit cost according to your ABC, just like we've done in the previous question. And it can give you some details to calculate your cost gap, and then you find the difference. But this time, there's no complex calculation. It's all given to you on the plate. So cost gap statement. So what's the first thing that we need to do? We agreed that we have to do our unit cost according to our ABC. So we say unit cost using ABC. Unit cost using ABC. So what is the first thing that should come here when we are calculating our unit cost using ABC?
Direct materials.
Direct materials. Excellent. 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 So we look at the direct material first, and it's given in the question. So if something is supposed to come on our format, but it's not given, you don't worry about it. Yeah. You don't worry about it. Yeah. Okay. So the first thing that needs to come into play is our direct material, and it's given. So you see, we are making use of our previous knowledge. Direct materials. And how much is our direct materials per unit? As per the question?
£20.
What?
20 pounds.
20?
Pounds.
20 pounds. Excellent. Okay, what is next? Next is what? Have we been given any direct label here? No direct label. So what we have here are the
Mr. Fofana, can we make use of the currency and
sorry?
also indicate whether they are in thousands or not?
Sorry? Sorry, I didn't get that right. The currency are in pound, and they are not in these are unit costs, so they cannot be in thousands, if I get you right. Okay, so we are going to move. The direct material cost, unit cost is 20. So we are not given any direct labor costs. So what we look at is the ABC variable combustion costs. Okay, so we have our ABC, the ABC method that has been used, the ABC method that has been used to calculate our overheads. These are the variable overheads. Okay, ABC combustion costs.
But you are removing the direct label.
There's no direct label in the question. Check the question whether there's any direct label that has been given to you.
No, sorry, direct material. Sorry, direct material.
Oh, sorry, I'm overriding. Yes, you're right. You're right. Escape. Yeah, you're right. Sorry. Okay. So I'm going to move a bit. Yeah. So that's ABC conversion cost.
Mr. Juan, ABC conversion cost is the same as the overhead.
Yes, but you know the overheads are two. You have the variable overhead and the fixed overhead. So this one is the variable overhead. It has already been calculated for you, and there are two for the assembly department and for finishing department. For the assembly department is how much? It's given on the plate? 20, isn't it?
Yes, 20.
Okay. And for the finishing department is how much?
12. 12.
Finishing. So for the finishing department, it's 12. Okay, so we have another fixed cost. So we have two types of fixed cost also, the product specific fixed cost and the company fixed cost. So let's find the unit for each of them. So the first one is the product specific fixed cost. Product specific FC for fixed cost. Okay, so the product specific fixed cost has been given to us at 170,000. Okay, that's the total, and the total units is 12,000. So we say 170,000 divided by 12. So we say equals 170, 123, divided by 12,000. So we enter. So that's about 14. Okay, that's about 14. If we want, we can take them to do 2 decimal place now because we are encountering decimals. So I'll just move them to 2 decimal place. Okay, and then that will be 14.17. Okay, so all of them to 2 decimal place. Okay, so the last fixed overhead that we have is the company fixed cost. So I'll say company FC. Okay, so the company fixed cost is altogether 50,000, and we have 12,000 units. So we find the units. So it's equals to 50,000 divided by 12,000. So we have 4.17. Okay, and that's the last cost that we have here. So we have our total unit cost using ABC. So our total unit cost using ABC. What formula do we put here, please? Can someone lead us? What formula do we put here? Cecilia? Cecilia Adams, can you help us? What formula do we put here to calculate our total unit cost using our ABC? Cecilia?
Well, Mr. Fofana?
Yes. Rabiatu, you want to try?
Hello.
Yes, Rabi? You want to try? Rabiatu, do you want to try?
Can I try?
Yes. Try, Dumbo.
I want to ask a question.
Okay, yes, Rabiatu, go ahead and ask. Just wait, Dumbo. Let Rabiatu ask a question. Yes, Rabiatu, go ahead, please. Quick.
I have a question before we move.
Yes, go ahead, Rabiatu. I've given you the floor. Go ahead, madam.
Yes, I'm trying to do it alongside with you, but I missed the company fixed cost. I don't know how you got that. What is the product specific?
The company fixed cost.
I missed the product specific FC. I don't know how you got it. I was having connection issue.
Yes, now I've just highlighted on it. Is 170,000 divided by 12,000. In case you miss, once you go back, because I'm going to share this sheet with you, once you go back and click on the how to call it, the answer, you'll see the formula. And you can express everything. Like if you want to view only formula, you come here to the view menu and you say what? Show formulas. You see, it will show you all the formulas. Look at it. It will show you all the formulas. So please, if you miss, don't worry. I mean, you have opportunity to look at the video, and then of course you have opportunity to go through the Excel version of it, or even if you want the Google Sheet version of it. Okay? So that we can, because we have some, some things to cover. Okay? So I'll go back. So if you want to show only the answers, so you go back and click on show formulas so that the tick will go off. Okay, right. So yes, you want to try?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Sorry, I had a customer.
Cecilia, so you are killing two birds with one stone. How is that possible?
I'm still at work.
You're still at work.
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead. What formula do we put here?
Equals to sum.
Okay, we say equals sum.
C14.
Bracket open, please.
Bracket open C14.
C14.
C.
Okay, C14
is to C19. Yeah. Bracket close, enter.
Bracket closes, enter. Thank you, Cecilia. That's a good one. So we have 70.33 as our unit cost using ABC. So now what will be our cost gap? What will be our cost gap? Okay, who can give us our cost gap? How do we find our cost gap?
The cost gap, it will be the cost, the total cost per unit in the ABC, minus the targeted cost.
Good. So we say equals C21 minus C9, we enter. So our cost gap is 4.33, meaning if we want to produce this particular product using our target cost is 66 pounds per unit, whilst our total current cost is 70.33 per unit. So our current cost is higher than our target cost. So if we want to produce this product based on our target cost, that means we have to eliminate this cost gap, which is 4.33. To eliminate this cost gap, we have to employ what? Value engineering, like I explained to you. Okay? So that's what exactly we're talking about here. So let's go back to our slides. So this is what we meant by cost gap. So I'll go back to our slide, then we continue with the other parts of the question.
Sorry, Mr. Fofana.
Yes.
You means that anytime when you want to rectify the cost gap, you have to engage in value engineering in order to balance it up.
Yes. You have to use value engineering technique. Okay? You have to use value engineering technique. Okay? Right. Any more questions, please? So I'm going to stop projecting this, then I come and project our slides again. Back to our slides. So the C part, as you will see here, will be an explanation of what I've just started. So you've already calculated your unit cost using your ABC. That's your current technique. And you had what? 70.33. And by using your target cost, you want to produce this product at 66 pounds per unit. So you have a cost gap, a difference of 4.34. So currently, if you produce this product using 70.34, are you going to be able to achieve your target profit margin of 12%? Are you going to be able to achieve it?
No.
No, you will not be able to achieve it. The only time you'll be able to achieve this 12% profit margin is when you produce at your target cost. That is 66 pounds per unit. So this is what is explained here on the C part, so you can read it when you go home. Okay, so let's look at value engineering quickly. I was explaining it, so let's just solidify it. So yes, so like I said, we have to close the gap between the 70.33 and the 66 by using our value engineering. So how do we go about that? We can either reduce the component count. Component count will be reducing the number of materials that we use. How do we do that? By ensuring that we buy quality materials. Okay, you know, of course, if you buy inferior materials, there is usually a lot of wastage during the production process. I hope we all know that. Yeah. When you buy inferior raw materials, there is a lot of waste when it comes to production, and those waste cost, some money. Okay, so we can reduce the component count by, of course, increasing on the quality of the raw materials that we buy, or by exchanging the materials, like I've said, instead of using aluminum, we can use the plywood in our wood example. Okay, so the next thing we can do is we can reduce production complexity. If our current production regime using our ABC is so complex, you have to follow a lot of procedures, a lot of steps. Those steps and those procedures, those activities, as we have seen on our ABC, they cost a lot of cost. So if there is a possibility of reducing any of those activities without having any effect on the quality of the product, you should go ahead and do that. Okay? And you should make sure those activities that you are reducing, there must be non-value added one. Non-value added ones means with or without them, the product will still be what it is. Customers will still go for the product. Okay. So we can revise the production process also. We could decide it in such a way that if it is a production that may not require that much machine, we could try to reduce the machine component of it. Okay, and another way we could do is we could revise the specification of the product. Okay, if we think at the moment the specs are very complex, we can go through the procedures, and like I said, and as you can see on the video, this involves everybody, not just the finance department. Mind you, we are there to help them. You cannot do it alone. You have to do it throughout. You have to liaise with the production manager, you have to liaise with the foreman, you have to liaise with management, you have to liaise with procurement department, and so on. So everybody is involved when we are doing our value engineering. So we as accountants, we take the lead because this is our business. Our business is to give useful data, useful information, useful reports, useful costing to management for useful decision making. Okay, so we have to lead it. Very, very important. Good. So let's look at some advantages of target costing quickly so that we can do our question. Of course, there is cost reduction and control. As we've all seen, if you use target costing technique, you can be able to know which costs are necessary and which ones are not necessary. And as such, you'll be able to reduce costs. You'll be able to control by reducing cost, of course, your market-based costing, your selling prices and so on. By factoring all this in the consideration, you could improve on productivity, you could improve on your revenue, and of course, at the end of the day, you will improve on your profitability and your customer will be satisfied because you will have factored in what are the things that are required for customers to buy my products. What are the values of my product to the customers? At the end of the day, we are working for the customer. I hope you know that. What we want is we want to satisfy our customers because without our customers, we are completely out of business. The customers are the ones who bring us revenue. So, of course, at the design stage, cost control is emphasized and so on and so forth. So, of course, it has got some disadvantages. Some of the key disadvantages are it's not easy to put it into practice because, especially in Africa, not a lot of people want to go ahead with all these techniques. Not a lot of people who want to employ people who have got management accounting skills and so on and so forth. So there are other disadvantages you can look at. Okay, so is there any question? Then we can quickly do this exam type question. Any questions, please? Then you refer to, I think it's in the last part of your part, which is an exam type question. Any questions, please, before we move to that?
Yes, Mr. Fofana.
Yes, go ahead, Omar.
Yes, based on the question that we have already solved.
Yes.
There is a sentence there which we didn't read, but I try to analyze it, but I don't understand it. This sentence reads, Fantata Limited uses a minimum contribution to sales ratio target of 25% when assessing the variability of the product.
Exactly.
Yes, that sentence, I try to analyze it, but I don't understand it. The sales ratio target of 25%.
Yes. Okay. What that means is the contribution to sales ratio is the contribution as a percentage of sales. Contribution, of course, as you know, is the difference between sales and the prime cost. Okay. So that sales, the difference between sales and prime cost over the selling price. So that's what we call CS ratio, contribution to sales ratio. So CS ratio is also another performance management, how to call it, performance improvement tool, okay, that we calculate. So by using this target costing, okay, it's asking, say, Fantana Limited uses a minimum contribution to sales ratio target of 25% when assessing the viability of a product. In addition, management wishes to achieve an overall net profit margin of 12% on sales in this period in order to meet return on capital target. So this contribution to sales ratio will be assuming that we have sales of 75, okay, and a variable cost just like we've calculated, okay, the direct materials and the variable combustion cost. This will be part of the variable cost. When we calculate that, their target is to, every product must have at least 25% before they can consider it. Okay, so when you are doing your analysis, you will have to calculate the contribution to sales ratio, whether it meets this target. Okay, if it does not meet this target, then that means they will not be able to go ahead with this decision. You understand it? So when you're doing your write-up, it's already on the answer I've provided. Okay, so when you go through it, you'll understand it. Okay, Omar?
Yes, you please share the slides that we are currently using.
Yes, I'm going to share it. Definitely, I'm going to share it. Okay, so let's move. Yes.
The solution is under the question.
Sorry?
The solution for this question, I mean, where is it? It's under the question, starting from where?
No, we've done the calculation part. The C part is on the slide. I've showed you that slide, isn't it? Okay, are you with us?
Yes. I showed you one. Okay.
So as you can see on the side, it says product A is falling short of its CS ratio target. Consideration exercise must be concentrated on this product if its production is to continue to be seen to be worthwhile. So when we calculate it, we will see clearly that it will fall short of the 25% target. CS ratio is very easy, as accountants, you should know we know how to arrive at our contribution, isn't it? Contribution over our sales, that's what is CS ratio. So when you calculate your contribution over sales, in fact, in this case here, there will be only one, variable cost. Because the other one is the production. The other one is overheads, isn't it? So that will not be counted as your prime cost. So if you do your contribution to sales ratio, you'll see to it that it is less than the target of 25%. Okay. So once you look at it yourself and you calculate the CS ratio, you will see what is being said there. Okay. Shall we move? Are we? Okay. We have 12 minutes to do this question. It's a long question. Right. Those that are going to have 5 o'clock class, can they give us 15 minutes? Is that possible with them? Because if we start this now, we might not finish it. But if we have up to 5:15, we'll be fine. Some lecturers will join in early.
Then why not after we listen to the record?
Sorry?
Well, then maybe after we listen to the radio, we go and watch the YouTube record.
Okay, so I can go ahead, huh?
Yes, because me.
Because?
After we can watch we can listen the records.
Okay. Okay, so we go
Sorry,
ahead.
Mr. Fofana, what you have doing? Have you sent us that?
Sorry?
The document you are viewing now, have you sent us that? I'm not seeing it in my notes here.
No. This I'm going to give you this. This is the slides. You're gonna get it after class.
Right. Okay, no problem.
Okay. So shall we move, please? Let's look at this question. Okay, let's look at this question. The question has got 2 parts. That's one, the written part, which is A, B, and C. And the second part is the D part, which is the calculation part. We're going to explain part A, B, and C. Okay, and I'm going to provide the model answer. Okay, the model answer is part of these slides. Okay, but we will discuss them. So the first part is briefly describe the target cost process that Edwards Company should undertake. Okay, so it says Edwards Company. Oh, I hope I've started recording. Sorry, let me just check. Yes, it's being recorded. Yes. So it says Edwards Company assembles and sells many types of radio. It is considering extending its product range to include digital radios. These radios produce a better sound quality than traditional radios and have a large number of potential additional features not possible with previous technologies, like station scanning, more choice, one-touch tuning, station identification text, and song identification text, etc., etc. A radio is produced by assembly workers assembling a variety of components. Production overheads are currently absorbed into fixed cost on an hourly labor basis. Edwards Company is considering a target costing approach for its new digital radio. So by reading this, at least one thing is clear to us. What is their current costing technique? What is their current costing technique? It says a radio is produced by assembly workers using a variety of components. Production overheads are currently absorbed into product cost on an assembly labor hour basis. What's their current costing technique? Are you with me, class?
It absorption costing.
Absorption costing, exactly.
Yeah, from this, I think it's ABC.
ABC. Who said ABC? It's not ABC there. ABC, how do you, in ABC method, how do you absorb overheads? You absorb overheads in ABC by using cost drivers, by activities. Here you've been told that overheads are absorbed using an assembly labor hour basis. So that means their current costing technique is absorption costing. Please take note of this. Okay? So let's go. So now you have to describe to, let's say, the CEO of Edwards Company, how target costing process should undertake. This one you have to make particular reference to the case, to the company. What business is Edwards company, is Edwards Limited into? What business are they into? What business are they
Manufacturing. Manufacturing business.
Radio
manufacturing?
Radio
Yeah, yeah. And it's not only radio production, but digital radio production. Okay, they are into digital radio production. Okay, so they are into digital radio production. Okay, so you have to understand the case, because your answers, even though they are written, they should relate to the case. So the best way to do is don't only stop here, read the whole question. It is really, really important to read the whole question so that you can make reference to the case. Look at it here. Nobody is preventing you. Because they've started with ABC doesn't mean you don't have to read the D part. Read everything so that when you give in your written aspects of it, you'll be able to make reference to what has been stated on the question. Okay? So a selling price of 44 has been set in order to compete with a similar radio in the market. So what is that selling price? That's the target selling price, isn't it? After doing our market research. Okay? So, and so on and so forth. So we have to read the case. So let's look at the A part. It says, briefly describe the target costing process that Edwards Company should undertake. So can you tell us what's the first thing Edwards Company should do? What's the first thing they should do?
Market research on digital.
So they should do a market research on which market are they going to look at? The digital radio market. You said it, Hydra. You said it.
The digital
Exactly.
radio.
So they do a market research in the digital radio.
The digital
business.
radio.
Exactly. So that means they should go and visit companies that are currently producing digital radios. Okay? Ask them about their processes, ask them about the shortcomings, ask them about their revenues, ask them about their costs. Okay? Not only the selling price, you have to look at it holistically. Mind you, you want to go into this new business. It's a great area for you. Maybe you have not got into it yet. So when you're doing your research, make the best opportunity to look at other areas, not just the selling price. Like I said, the selling price will come last, but a lot of factors will have to be put into consideration before the selling price comes. For example, you have to determine the cost. Before you determine the cost, you must determine the activities, the processes, whether the product is going to be labor intensive, is it going to be machine intensive, and so on and so forth. Okay? So the first thing Edwards Company needs to do, and don't start writing step 1, determine selling price by doing market research. If you do that, you may not get even half. So go ahead and put your answer according to the scenario. So first you start by saying Edwards Company Limited is into digital radio business. And as such, they need to do a market research into the digital radio industry. So they need to visit a couple of companies that are producing digital radios. At the end of that exercise, they should be able to have, average selling prices so that they can determine their target selling price. If you say that, the examiner is happy. Give you full mark that's allocated for that. Okay? And the next step should be Edwards Limited currently has got a pricing regime. And the pricing regime, the selling pricing regime is a selling price of 44. Okay? Which is after allowing for the board have agreed that acceptable margin after allowing for all production costs should be 20%. So at the moment, how to call it, the Edwards Company Limited is using 20% on their margin, on their selling price as their target profit. So second step, you say Edwards Company Limited should determine their target profit, and the determination of target profit is based on Edwards Company Limited internal policies. Then you go ahead and say, currently, Edwards Company Limited is how to call it, attracting 20% on all selling price. You do that, full marks. Then the next step, what's the next step? Okay, then the third step will be, after determining the selling price and the target profit margin of Edwards Company Limited, they should go ahead and determine their target cost by deducting the target profit from the selling price. That one does not require much something. You have that. Then the fourth process is, then you say, after doing all that, okay, Edwards Company Limited should calculate their unit cost, okay, based on their current costing technique, and go ahead and mention that current costing technique. You have not been told in the question, but you know that it's absorption costing. You say, which is absorption costing. Based on what you read, the examiner will definitely know that this guy knows what he's doing. Okay, you'll be given full marks. Then you say their current costing technique is absorption costing. So Edwards Limited is supposed to calculate their current unit cost using absorption costing and compare it to their target cost. Okay, and the difference will be the cost gap, and then the cost gap should be eliminated by using, full answer without looking at any book. Okay, very simple. You understood the process, you can answer it, you're applying it on the case. But if you just want to memorize and then you want to pour it here, because the procedures are this, do a market research, determine profit, you put all that as simple as they are. If you're lucky, you can get 1 mark. This is a scenario based. This is why a lot of people fail professional exams, not because they're intelligent, but because they are not proactive in the way they answer questions. This requires your 2 types of knowledge. One is your academic knowledge that you have learned, and of course, the knowledge in that particular scenario. Whatever academic knowledge you know about target cost must be applied to the current case, which is Edwards Company Limited. Okay, then you go to how to call it, DP part. DP part said explains the benefits to Edwards Company of adopting a target costing approach. So what we're going to do is we're going to discuss B and C, and then we stop there. Obviously, this is a very important question. So I don't want the other people who are going to have the 5 o'clock class to miss it. Even though they can watch it on the video, but it won't be fair to them. Okay, and definitely we need to obey the time. So maybe what we can do is we need to find time, maybe next week or week after next, to do at least 2 extra classes so that we can, catch up. Yeah. So the class rep and the class assistant class rep, let's think about that so we can do a catch up, make up, how to call it, classes, right? So the B is what? Explain the benefits to Edwards Company Limited of adopting a target costing approach at such an early stage in the product development process. Okay, what are some of the benefits that Edwards Company Limited can gain as a result of target costing? Can you tell me? This, it's easy based on your understanding of the target cost. You don't even have to read the case. Okay. Can someone give me at least one? Makam Jao, are you with us, Makam? Yeah, give me one benefit of target costing that Edwards Company Limited.
Makam is here.
Yes, Makam, give me one benefit of target costing that Edwards Company can enjoy.
Okay. one I will give is that it will minimize the risks of making loss in a product.
Good one. It will minimize the risk of making loss in a product. Why? Why will that happen?
Yeah. Unlike other costing method, example for activity-based costing and absorption costing, where you calculate the unit cost of the product, then less an already set selling price. Are you
Of course,
hearing
I'm
me?
hearing you. Go ahead, Makam.
Okay. I was saying, unlike ABC and absorption costing, where the
Yes,
unit cost is
I heard you
determined
loud
and
and clear. Just continue. Yes,
is
I heard you
less
loud and
from
clear.
the set selling price.
Okay.
Okay. In target costing, you already have your selling price,
Okay.
and you just have to deduct your profit margin from that selling price.
Okay, good. So in other words, there will not be any instance whereby you can make loss in your product if you adopt the target costing method, because already you will determine a price that you're going to sell your product and so on and so forth. So that's a good one. That's a good one. Okay. So there are lots of benefits. One, just to add on to what you said is right, Makam. Another thing will be the products will obviously be appealing to the customers, okay? Because you've already done your research, and then you know what values are the customers looking for in your product. That means what benefits they can get from it, and you'll ensure that during your production process you factor all those into consideration, okay? So whatever products you produce using this will be in high demand because they will be appealing to customers, and as such, your revenue base will increase, and of course, your profitability will definitely increase, and it's going to increase your goodwill as well. Okay, very important. So, you can have a lot of benefits that you can, put together. But whatever benefits you mentioned, you must relate it to Edwards Company Limited. Okay, so C, assuming a cost gap was identified in the process, outline possible steps Edwards Company Limited could take to reduce this gap. Okay, so mainly, what step do we take to reduce cost gap? We use what? We use what?
Yes, you can use an alternative raw material.
Would it be
Okay, we use value engineering. Okay, but don't just stop at saying we use value engineering. We have to explain what value engineering is, and you have to explain what values are supposed to be engineered in this case. Okay, mind you, this question part alone is 7 marks. Okay, so you have to say, one key thing you have to put into consideration is if you're going to attempt any questions in exam, always look for the marks. If it is 7 marks, put into consideration that I must say at least 14 different good points in order to score these 7 marks. So if a question is asking for 7 marks, any mark, double that mark, so that your points you should have 2 good points to earn at least 1 mark. 2 good points with examples. So if you're going to get 7 marks, at least you must say 14 relevant points with examples in order to get that 7 marks. 7 marks is not easy to get. So in order to do this, like I said, refer to the case. Look at the case. If you're going to do value engineering for Edwards Company, what's the first thing that you need to look for? One will be the material. So what materials are being used in value engineering in Edwards Company? What materials? There are 3 categories of material. 1 is the circuit board, 2 is the wiring, and then 3 is the other materials. So when you explain in your value engineering, you'll say Edwards Company Limited should look at the component counts of its materials and the prices, the unit price for those materials. Okay. For example, you look at the circuit board, the wiring. Okay, you can say the wiring, Edwards Limited can, look at possible, alternatives for wiring which are going to be cost effective. Okay, and it spoke about 25 centimeters of wiring which needs to be cut. So if you cut it, there will be wastage. Okay, so that definitely tells you that the wiring that they are currently used might not be that quality. Okay, look at it. It says that there is 2% of purchased wire is lost in assembly process. So you could say that since there will be some losses during the assembly process, Edwards Limited should look for a wiring system that will have quality material, so that there will be, if not 2% waste. It's very difficult to reduce, to eliminate waste completely, very difficult. But you could say that they could aim at, reducing the waste to 1% instead of 2%, okay? So you look at other materials, you talk about it. You look at the labor also. At the moment, they are using skilled labor. You could say Edwards Limited could try to assess whether unskilled laborers can in fact assemble this. Look, mind you, it's not producing the parts, but assembling the parts. So in the West, what they do is these electronic companies, what they do is they don't just produce, like if it's a radio company, there will be lots of different parts of the radio which can be, in fact, imported from different countries. So all the parts will be there. Okay, this is the way the West is using, and the system is called JIT, just-in-time stock control. So instead of assembling all the radios and then they will gather dust in there, okay, and sometimes some radios might not be demanded. So what they do is, instead of buying the radios and selling them, they will buy parts of the radios, okay, so that when a customer places an order, they will put them together, they will assemble them. So the process is assembling. So do you require a highly skilled labor to just assemble them, or do you require, maybe a quality of labor that's a bit below that? Okay, so it's just a question of analyzing. There is no right answer to it, but you have to show that you understand. Okay, so this is definitely what happens in the West. Like I remember when I was in the UK, when I bought my first laptop, which is Dell laptop, you go to their website, you place an order, you say what you want on the laptop. Do you want the keyboard that has got some illumination? Do you want a keyboard with mouse that has got specific functions and so on? So you put the pieces together according to your order. So once the order goes to them, they will say delivery will be done in, say, 4 working days. During the 4 working days, what they will do is they will go and assemble your order. Okay, Lamin Fofana has ordered the laptop that should have an illuminating keyboard. So they'll go for that part, take this, assemble it, and test it, and make sure it works, and then they ship it to you. The same technology. Even aeroplanes is the same way they are produced. Because I remember last year, I went for a workshop in the US. I went to Seattle. I went to one uncle who took me to Seattle to, then we had a visit to one of these companies, Boeing. Boeing is the, I think they're the highest producers of aeroplanes. So we went to the manufacturing center of Boeing. It was a beautiful experience. Boeing, the ones who produce these airplanes. You go there, they'll explain to you how airplanes are made. It's amazing. It's amazing. So it's all the same JIT approach. So at Boeing, they assemble aeroplanes. The parts of the aeroplanes are ordered from different countries. Different countries. Some come from the UK, some come from Japan, some come from different states of the US, some come from a lot of Asian countries, some can even come from South Africa, and so on and so forth. So those parts, and there are thousands and thousands of parts that you need to assemble before you can get one aeroplane. It's just beautiful, amazing. When you take a trip there, it's just so good. So if one day you happen to go to the US, especially if you go to Seattle, and try and visit Boeing, it's just beautiful. And where they assemble the aeroplanes is in a building, is in a house that is the biggest in the world. It's the biggest house in the whole world. Google it, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's the biggest house in the whole world where they assemble this aeroplane part. It's because the reason why it's the biggest, you can have trains running inside the house, picking one part from there and then trying to bring them to their assembly points and so on. It's just beautiful. Okay, it's just to tell you how, you know, organizations, especially those into machine production or, you know, information technology equipment, you know, that's the way they do JIT. So they don't have to assemble things. They only assemble when an order has been placed. Okay, it has a lot of advantages. If you have done JIT approach before, you'll know what I'm talking about. JIT, just-in-time approach, and the TQM, total quality management. This case and cost in the video they were referring to. All these things are, you know, ways of, you know, ensuring that there is less waste and there is high profitability. Okay. So we'll soon go for those that are doing the next class. So what's the last part? Okay, yeah. So we're still talking about the cost gap identification and what to do. So value engineering. Okay. So there are lots of different.
Mr. Fofana?
You can go ahead with the value engineering. Yes, Dumbia, go ahead.
Yes, this kind of cost gap you are talking about, I think even warehousing also can be put into consideration because it costs companies to keep goods at the warehouse before customer come for them.
Exactly.
So, you know, like you said, you know, this JIT system can also help to fix this, you know, cost gap. And, you know, company can go for a profit rather making loss.
Exactly, yeah, that's true. Because, you know, well, in the less developed countries, what they do is, if you need a product, for example, if you want a car, you know, you go to Sefao, you'll find a car there, fully assembled. But in the West, it doesn't work like that. Okay? They'll have some that are assembled, they will be in their showroom, whereby if you go, they'll be able to show you the car, I mean, how its functionalities are, and so on and so forth. But those are not available for sale. They are just at the showroom so that when people come, they can have a look at it. But if you place an order, this is exactly what they do. They put pieces together, assemble them, test them, and make sure they are okay, and then they deliver your order. Okay. So that's the way it's done. I think we will have to draw the curtain here so that we can be fair to those that have class at 5 o'clock, and then also there is Salah time. Okay. Any questions or remarks that you want to quickly make before we finish for today? I hope you enjoy the class. I try to I think I understand from some of my previous students. They say if students are going to have a go at Mr. Fofana, sometimes they'll say he talks a lot. You know, so
Your class is one of the, you know, best classes I'm attending.
Is it, please? No, I'm just trying, to be honest. I'm just doing my best. So I mean, the reason why I do a lot of talks, you know, and so on, and the reason why we don't just quickly finish and then take the exam like that, to be honest, like I said, this is an opportunity for you. And MA3 is a very, 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 very good paper for your career. Management accounting, very, very important. Like I said, it is in fact more important than financial accounting. The only reason is financial accounting is statutory. You cannot run away from it. But to be honest, if you want to be an accountant, you specialize in management consulting, I mean, you have to be a good management accountant. good management accountant. Like we spoke about ABC, there are some accountants who have specialized in only delivering ABC services, helping organizations to go with ABC costing technique. There are some accountants that have specialized in break-even analysis, and so on and so forth. So lots of things that we will see in this course are really so important. We're going to look at environmental management accounting, which is a hot cake in the world today because, now everybody is trying to be, aware when it comes to their carbon footprint, at individual level, at organization level. People are careful as to, how much they contribute to the global warming, stuff. Okay, we'll come to it. It's so interesting. And we have a video on it, which is on the Gambia. I mean, if you watch it, it's so good to understand. I'm sure you really like it. So the reason why Mr. Fofana talks too much is I really want to bring life. I want to inject life into the subject. And I like to bring real life examples to the subject, both in the Gambia and abroad and so on and so forth. So I hope when you graduate, you won't say, oh, Mr. Fofana talks a lot. That's the reason why he talks a lot. That's
No, the way you talk is, also helps us, to understand more because these things are conventional. So it has to be, you have to relate it to our daily activities.
Exactly. Good. Yes.
To explain it, you are doing them, but we don't know. But if you explain it to us, we understand it.
Excellent. Excellent. Good. So, right. Anything to say? I hope we like the lectures. We enjoy it. We've learned something that we can make use of tomorrow without having to, read the book and try to understand the definition. That's the problem with most accountants, because we want to memorize definitions. And the problem is if we forget those definitions, we can never, never, never be able to apply them, So, of course, it's good to know terminologies and so on and so forth. But what is important is you need to know the course you're talking about, and you need to be able to explain it simply in your own words, and of course you need to relate it to real life, dealings, real life business, both at organizational level and also at personal level. Okay. So, anything to say before we wrap up? We all okay? I guess you had good time.
Sorry, this climate issue you are talking about, is it related to, I don't know, green investment or green accounting? Because I hear such terms.
Yes. It's all related to that. Yes, environmental management accounting, green accounting, you can call it.
Because I think people are trying to shift towards the green investment so that to curtail the emission in the atmosphere.
Exactly.
And also make use of holistic approach.
Exactly. In fact, it's only here, but we'll also move into it. But in the West, you can maximize profitability by being environmentally conscious, and you can go out of business if you are not, friendly to the environment. If your business is not friendly to the environment, for example, if your business, is found wanting in terms of polluting the environment, in terms of, causing leakage in terms of oil. That's the organizations that are into oil business and so on and so forth. You can, kind of go out of business within seconds in the West. Okay, because some people, most customers, especially customers who buy food products, they always look at the labeling. Okay, if any of you have worked in a supermarket in the West, you will notice. Okay, they look at the labeling of the food that they want to buy. Okay, and they want to see this organization. Are they environmentally friendly? Are they giving back to, the the environment, the people, that are working for them, the location of their business, the people live in that area, since they're kind of disturbing them in one way or the other by polluting the environment? Are they giving back to them? And so on and so on. So they look for a lot of things before they buy your products. And since there are lots of different alternatives to pick from, so they could decide not to buy from you. I mean, if you people are aware, a couple of weeks ago, there was this unfortunate incident on the president of France talking about those offensive cartoons. Okay, and there was this message all over the world, especially in Islamic countries, saying that let's ban all the products that are made in France. And maybe for us here in Africa, we might not take that seriously. But for other people living in other countries, they're going to take it seriously. So when they go to buy any of the product, like if they want to buy coffee, they will look at this coffee. Is it produced in France? Is it produced in any country that has got a relation to France? And then they can just, decide not to buy. So if people don't buy, then the supermarkets are not going to buy from you as a business, as a country that's producing that, and it's going to push you out of the market. So it's the same thing with the environment also. Okay, but we will look at that once we reach there. So I think we can close here. It looks like people are leaving to attend the other classes. So thank you so much for coming. I hope to see you next week, inshallah. So I will not give you any homework this time around, but I want you to look at this question in advance. So if it is possible for you to attempt it using spreadsheet file, either Google Sheet or Excel file. If you can look at this question in advance, that's what proactive students will do, I think. So please, it's not compulsory that you look at it, but if you're going to be proactive, look at it and try to walk through it. You can make a lot of errors, but what is important is once we come to do it next class, you're going to learn from your mistakes, and that's the best way to learn. Yes, Isaac, you wanted to say something?
Yes, Mr. Fofana, concerning about the assignment. My UTG email is having a problem, and I called the department. They say that they're going to solve it on Monday. So I use my personal email for the assignment.
You use your personal email, no problem. It's a Gmail account, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. That's okay. I can accept that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So anything else?
Okay, Mr. Fofana, I don't know whether you know about World Economic Forum.
World Economic Forum, yes.
Yes, even some days ago, I was listening to them. They were talking about the green investment. So some partners were included in the session. I don't know if you some of them are into aviation and the like.
Exactly. Yeah. In fact, we're going to look at carbon trading. It's all about this green investment you are talking about.
We want to put down a framework that will regulate companies' operation to data from I don't know, emitting the CO2 into the atmosphere.
Exactly. In fact, there is already a legislation in Europe.
We are discussing.
Yes, exactly. We're going to look at that, and then we'll do some calculation on it. We're going to look at that when we look at EMA, yeah?
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Wish you well. Have a good night and a good week. Thank you.
All right. Well, you're welcome.